Welcome to the very first Recipe video game podcast. I go by the name of the Red Knight, and if you're listening to my beautiful voice for the very first time right now, what you need to know is that this podcast has been going for 10 years now. And in 10 years, I've rebranded this podcast twice, this being the third rebranding. I said it's been 10 years, time to refresh again. I refreshed everything about my brand, and now here we are with the Recipe video game podcast. So, shout out to my patron. They already know how this works, but for you new listeners, the format of this podcast is basically like this. I start out with what I've recently been playing, talk about that a little bit, and then I get right into the week's biggest news. I call that segment headlines, and then I like to talk about a random topic to end it off after I'm done with all the headlines of the week. And this week in particular, I will be talking about 5 things that I want to see happen at that Xbox and Bethesda game showcase. And of course, the Halo review for this week's episode, which I've been doing on the podcast since the show started. So I said to end it off, but what I actually end the podcast with is with questions from my patron. And whenever I'm doing this podcast live on YouTube, you can just send questions during that segment right in the chat, and I'll respond to those, obviously. So yeah, that's basically the format of this podcast. Now, before I get into what I've been playing this week, I feel like I should give a quick recap of my gaming history for the new listeners. I've been gaming since I've been born. Started with Atari 2600, had an NES also at the time, and yeah, the rest basically was a ton of Nintendo, a ton of Sega consoles until they basically were done. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 3, haven't played PlayStation since, and that is why on this podcast I pretty much just I'll cover PlayStation when they're doing big major things in the video game industry that affects the industry as a whole, but you won't see me doing previews of specific games and things like that because I don't play those games. So why would I even be speaking on them like that? You know what I'm saying? When I don't play them. All I can say is whatever I feel from the outside looking in, and I'm not even going to waste time really doing that unless it's an occasion where I'm watching the show like the Game Awards and they're showing PlayStation stuff there. Of course, I'm going to give my opinion and be live reacting to that and all of that good stuff. Of course, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? If they're showing some brand new Marvel exclusive, I'm going to be sitting there marveling at it like everyone else is. But I play Nintendo and I play Xbox. That's basically where I settled over the last decade when it comes to video games. And it's basically been like that with Xbox since the 360. I've had an Xbox 360, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, and here we are. Well, I got an S also, but here we are. Now, I think you all caught up for the most part. So I feel like we can now basically get to the part where I talk about what I've been playing this week. And this week I've been playing something that I was playing a lot of actually in 2017 and 2018 when I first got my Nintendo Switch. Fortnite. I stopped playing Fortnite because, well, my complaint on this very podcast, right, was I can't do the building thing. Like I get into gunfights, we just start building all that. It's like it just throws me out of it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to build. And then I wish there was just a way that I could play this game with none of the building crap. You know what I mean? And I know people love the building, and I never was like, oh, get rid of the building completely. No, no. I was like, give us a mode that's build free. And we finally got that this year. We got the zero build mode. And since it came out, well, I just put it like this. In the battle pass, I'm level like 91 right now. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing this game like crazy. Got a ton of wins. Like, I'm in it now, and I'm loving it. And I've been having a good time with it. I'm going to talk more about Fortnite during the headlines because one of the headlines pertains to Fortnite. But yeah, I've been having a good time with Fortnite. And I'm happy that this mode, came out and exactly what I said came true is that I would play this game a ton. And when it comes to like battle royale games or multiplayer games right now that are, shooter based, yeah, it's basically Fortnite right now that I'm playing. I'm not playing nothing else. Dropped Warzone, Apex Legends. I dropped basically years ago. Last time I played it was probably earlier this year. I actually downloaded it, but I played like a match or two, and then was like, yeah, I'm good. It was just like I ain't coming back to it. You know what I'm saying? I was playing Halo at the time, and Halo I pretty much dropped. Season 2 for me was such a disappointment already, and they've admitted as such. And I'm like, I mean, from the outside looking in, it looked sparse. And then when it came out, it was like, yeah, I'm in here. Sparse. So yeah, drop that. And I just been on Fortnite. Fortnite's been mad fun. And obviously, them with their events and their battle passes and all the content. And I mean, like, that game is crazy, man. That game is absolutely crazy. You got goddamn Chapulín Colorado in that game. I was like, yo, my moms used to watch that when I was little. I was like, this is crazy. Like, that's how deep it goes. And that's like a super deep cut when it comes to IP. And that just goes to the IP of how big and worldwide it is, Fortnite. But yeah, there's a lot of characters in there. But I'll talk about that later. I've also been playing, like I said, Shooty Shooty Bang Bang multiplayer. It's been Fortnite. But the multiplayer game that's been basically taking all my time, and y'all seen the streams on the channel, it's been Nintendo Switch Sports. This game, man, it's addicting. That's the best way to put it. It's so addicting, and it's so fun to play because the gameplay is so good, right? I can sit here and I gave my gripes in the last stream, right, with the online, and I can wish for all those things to be better, but the core game is just so good. It's just so fun. Being able to go online and play against real people versus it being computers. Real people are always going to be different, react different. You're going to run into players who are going to absolutely crush you. You're going to go through waves of you crushing people and feeling like you're the man, your rating going up. Then you run into that one player and it's like, yo, I thought I was good, but that guy's great. And that just makes you want to play even more. Yeah, to say that game got me hooked right now would be an understatement because, I mean, it's been a lot of Nintendo Switch Sports this week. Like, it really does feel like the Wii Sports fever is in the air, And if you don't believe it is, I got a Nintendo Switch Sports headline that's going to prove just that. So, let's get into headlines. Speaking of headlines.
Activating headlines.
Did you think that we were not going to have an E3 season, what I like to call the video game holiday season? Did you think that we weren't? Well, Microsoft last week made sure to let us know that they definitely were going to do their part to make June the month that it always is for us gamers, which is what I like to call the gaming holiday season, aka E3 season. And while there's no E3 this year, Microsoft was like, we're still going to do a show on the normal time that we would have done our E3 show. And this week, I'm happy to announce that Summer Games Fest, which we knew was already happening, it's been happening already for, I want to say, the last 2 years. This would be the third year. It's happening again this year. But what's a little bit different is that it seems like this year, on Thursday, June 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be this cross-industry showcase hosted by Jeff Keighley that's going to be basically like the main E3 show, and then everything else after that, the way I understand it, would be like, previews of what they showed at that show and just little, announcements being made, throughout the weekend, basically. Because it's going to be a more than, 1 day thing. So that sounds cool. And it sounds kind of like what E3, at least the digital E3 is, because what E3 actually is on the show floor and all of that, greatness still hasn't really been done by anyone else. But, yeah, I'm excited for this show because it being a cross-industry showcase means that you can get some PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, you never know. And I bring up PlayStation there first because PlayStation didn't do E3 shows, right? And this isn't E3. So maybe they'll decide to participate. And I say that because I want them to participate. When we have these big, cross-industry shows like E3 and Sony doesn't participate, I always say it's lame. And I don't even own a PlayStation. Because when it comes to video games, I want to see everybody participate in these shows that's supposed to be about everybody. And I know Sony's been kind of trying to be like, on their, gated community mindset. But they got out of that a little bit when it came to crossplay. And now they're putting their stuff on PC. So hopefully I would like to see them, get out of that. We only going to do state of play for our stuff. Like, yeah, state of play is cool. And there's nothing to say that you can't do a state of play. But, I mean, if you're going to do one, announce it for that weekend. Like, Microsoft going on Sunday, we'll go on Saturday. Or go Friday if Jeff Keighley's going on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So, it all, to me, like, I just want Sony to, participate. But this all sounds good. It sounds like it's going to be a fun time. And I really do hope that this June 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern, time is because that is just going to be like a, 90-minute show. We got already confirmation that Microsoft show is going to be 90 minutes, which is the perfect amount of time. We don't need shows to be 2 hours for video game announcements. I much prefer you give me 90 minutes and then put up like, a 15-minute gameplay preview, deep dives for like the coolest stuff that they showed at those shows on their YouTube channels and stuff like that. The best thing about Nintendo shows is that they'll do a show. It'd be like 45 minutes. It'd be like bang, 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 hit you with a ton of announcements. And then it's like, oh yeah, here's Treehouse Live, where we're just going to sit here for 5 hours and play everything you saw. And it'd be in-depth gameplay stuff. You know what I mean? So I hope that's what happens actually with this Achilles show. And it's not just like people sitting in front of the trailer that they just showed on loop. Like, yeah, that's fine if they don't have nothing to show. But I hope it's a mix of that and, developers on the stage with a controller, or on the stage, or, in a studio, whatever, with controllers in their hand, talking to Jeff Keighley as they actually play, a portion of the games that they showed. That'll make it, far more E3 like. And then, of course, bringing demos to the home. I'm sure Microsoft is going to do it. We already got a confirmation that on the 11th, Saturday, we're going to have a demo of Plague Tale, a Plague Tale, the new one, which I can't wait to play that. I'm definitely going to stream that whole demo, and that'll be my preview of it, on the channel. But, yeah, like, there's a lot going on, and I'm excited for June. Like, I thought, like, when E3 was like, oh, yeah, it's not happening, I was like, damn, there's nothing to say that Microsoft is going to do something, or Nintendo's going to do. We still don't know if Nintendo's going to do something. But I'm hoping that Jeff Keighley's going on Thursday, Microsoft's going on Sunday, like they always would, when E3's happening. Hopefully, that Tuesday, 9 a.m., 12 p.m. Eastern, like they always do, Nintendo comes with a E3-like show. I can only hope, I can only hope. And, Summer Games Fest being a cross-industry showcase, I'm really hoping everybody participates. And speaking of participants, I'm on the website right here, and the Summer Games Fest 2021 partners list is here, but it says stay tuned for 2022 partner announcements. So I'm assuming this isn't the full list, but I'm going to go down the list. So we have 2K, Activision, Amazon Games, Annapurna, Blizzard, Capcom, Devolver, Dotemu, EA, Epic Games, Finji, Frontier, Gearbox, Hi-Res Studios, Inner Sloth, Koch Media, Mediatonic, MiHoYo, Bandai Namco, Netflix, Psyonix, Raw Fury, Riot Games, Saber, Sega, PlayStation, the PlayStation logo here, so I guess PlayStation is in, which is awesome, right? Maybe you'll get a God of War trailer there. So Prime Gaming, Square Enix, Steam, Tencent Games, Tribeca Festival 2021, Ubisoft, Warner Bros. Games, Wizards of the Coast, and finally Xbox. So no Nintendo here, but PlayStation is there, which is good, which is very, very good. You got Warner Brothers there, which is good if you looking forward to seeing Gotham Knights, which is something that I hope to see at this very show. I think Gotham Knights fits this show way more than it does like the Xbox show. I know a lot of people will predict for that show to include Gotham Knights, and I'm like, the only way you include that in the Xbox show, I feel like, is if it's coming to Game Pass day one, which would be nuts. But yeah, Warner Brothers being here, I'm looking forward to seeing some Gotham Knights, and even Justice League, Kill the Suicide Squad, see what those look like if they decide to show that this year, which they shouldn't at this point. They've showed it multiple times, and it's only gotten delayed multiple times. So I say let this year just be for Gotham Knights. Show that, leave, Kill the Justice League till 2023, or maybe at the end of the year, in the fall sometime. But yeah, it's a good list of developers here. It feels like damn near everyone is there. Only one missing to me is Nintendo. And again, the list isn't finalized, so maybe that'll still be a thing, or maybe they'll do their own thing, like I was just saying, which I hope, I really do hope turns out to be the case. I don't want them to just sit out the show now. If, you got Sony actually participating in the Summer Game Fest, then it's going to feel like, damn, everybody did something, but then Nintendo set it out, so everybody didn't participate yet again. Like, the last few years around this time where Sony stood out. I don't want Nintendo to be the ones, sitting out this year. That'll just be the worst. So, Summer Games Fest, looking forward to. Stay tuned for, details on my live stream reaction to that and all of that good stuff. So let's move on now to Square Enix selling a bunch of its North American developers. And, Yeah, Embracer Group paid a nice $300 million, and with that they got Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and 50 IPs, including, you might know some of these, Deus Ex, right? You ever heard of it? You ever heard of it? Tomb Raider, that little game. You might have heard of it. Yeah, they got all of that. And there's other games like Legacy of Kain and other things like that that they bought. Now, I've seen a lot of folks, industry folks, say, "Yo, 300 million is a steal." And then there was an article that popped up saying that off the Marvel games, Guardians and that Avengers game, they lost 200 million. So I said, damn, they wanted to make their money back, and they said 100 million on top of that. So they just sold a ton of stuff off. Basically, their North American branch, it feels like, yeah, all of that is gone. I'm like, at this point, dude, why even still be Square Enix? Just go back to Squaresoft. But yeah, they sold all this stuff for 300 million, and folks feel like that was a little bit, like cheap. And I don't think so, because Deus Ex, that's a game that you might know the name, but I think the general audience doesn't know. And the same goes for Legacy of Kain. That game is irrelevant as hell. And I would say Deus Ex is also. And that's not the fault of those games being bad. It's the same situation with stuff like F-Zero and Star Fox. The only difference is that those aren't irrelevant because those IPs are still utilized within super popular IPs like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. But the actual mainline games, yeah, those shits are forgotten. Do I want a new one? Hell yeah. Nintendo, come on. But, they're forgotten. Just like Deus Ex and stuff like Legacy of Kain. But Tomb Raider is the big one. And I feel like 300 million for Tomb Raider, hey, that's a pretty good penny, I feel. And I know it's a giant IP with movies and stuff like that. And it's literally, one of the most famous video game properties of all time, where like the most casual audience know who Lara Croft is. You could show different versions of Lara Croft. You could show Angelina Jolie, or you could show the game, and somebody's gonna be, oh, I know who that is. That's Tomb Raider. So it's popular. Seeing like Crystal Dynamics going, stuff like that is wild. And I know Microsoft is working with them also, which I feel like, damn, Microsoft should have probably just bought this stuff out, 300 million, but they probably didn't want to get involved while they still trying to close this Activision deal, with other acquisitions and stuff like that. But who's to say that they won't just buy out Embracer Group completely later on and be like, yep, they own all those 50 IPs, including Tomb Raider and Deus Ex, and so it's crazy, but this is what's happening right now in the industry. People are buying stuff up. Square selling this stuff to me. I don't think it changed anything. Most of these IPs they didn't use. And in Tomb Raider, we already got the confirmation that they're making a new one. So in my opinion, everything is fine in that front. Embracer Group, they have like 200 games in development right now. Like over, I think 30 of them are, AAA games, whatever that means to them. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Tencent is over there buying up a lot of stuff. Microsoft is buying a ton. Sony just bought Bungie. Everybody's buying some stuff. Nintendo bought Next Level Games, even though some people say, hey, that always felt like Nintendo. Yeah, still bought them. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on right now. It's basically the new norm. And we just got to see where everybody settles, and then we'll probably get like, a decade of things slowing down and everybody just, putting out a ton of games. And some will fail, some will succeed. Some of these are giant companies like the Embracer Groups and Tencent. Who knows what'll happen with them, where they'll be. I don't know. I don't really think about that too much. I just think about the games. And as long as these IPs, go under a company that will, I guess, cherish them and actually utilize them in some way, shape, or form, I think that's a good thing. Now, if it's under a company that's just going to leave them dormant or be trash and have trash workplace environments, then yeah, I don't want that. But I'm hoping for the best. Good luck basically to the Embracer Group with Tomb Raider, because they got an iconic IP. And their goal is the same goal that Microsoft, has basically. And that is to make sure that they maintain those legacies by not tarnishing those IPs. And by those, I mean Doom, Tomb Raider. Those are iconic. Even Wolfenstein, like, they got iconic IPs. These companies are buying up, and they just got to treat them well, treat them right. That's all I want. If they can manage that, I think everything will be good and gamers won't complain at all. I think gamers will actually be happy that this sale happened because, like I said, a lot of these IPs aren't being utilized, and that's the reason why they are household names, and that's the reason why, this can be sold off for 300 million, which seems like a steal. Oh, I don't know. Square probably was just like they didn't really care. I don't know. Maybe they just was like, yeah, we just want to get out. We want to be completely Japanese focused. It is what it is. I don't know what their mindset was, but I like personally, I'm just not too worried about it. So the next headline: Mario Strikers Charge overview trailer just released in Japan. So I feel like I'm gonna cover this probably in a week when they release the North American one. Cause right now I could just be like, oh yeah, I understand some of these words. You know what I mean? Like Good Burger. I literally can look at it and say, I see that you got certain little things here and there and there, but there's a lot of talking happening, and I'm sure there's a lot of details being shared that I can't share with you. So all I could do is link you to that and say, check it out. Looks awesome. Can't wait to see, all the details about it. Because even Game Explain had put up a video, and their video was just reacting like, oh, they put up the gameplay. It wasn't really a detailed video. It's not like they had a translation at the time. I don't know if they uploaded something after the fact, but yeah, it's just no details right now. It's really Japanese focused. I think right now for us here in North America and everywhere else around the world who aren't in Japan, we have to focus on Nintendo Switch Sports. That's what we on right now. We ain't on Mario Strikers Charge time right now. But what I will say, the trailer, the game looks better than the first showing visually. The roster, it's still light. They didn't really show any new characters like that. Daisy's still not in there, which is like a crazy omission. Like, why y'all always omitting, Luigi's girl? Like, that's so weird. But anyway, the only brown character. I'm just saying, like, why they got to do that? So, yeah, the game has like this option where you can actually bump into your teammates in order, I guess, to charge them up to hit the ball even harder than the regular charge shot that they would do by themselves. So it's almost like a supported bump. So prepare to be pushed a lot by people online when you're playing with randoms, probably when you don't even want to be pushed. That's going to be fun to balance and figure out how that's all going to work out. But that's like the craziest feature I actually took from the gameplay, and again, I know that there's a lot more there. It's a 4-minute trailer, and they showed a lot of armor and how that armor, this was the other thing that I really took from it that I can only make out of everything, is that the crap you wear, it's not just crap. It's not just, oh, this is a cute little outfit that means nothing. No, it actually makes you stronger. They showed, I forgot who bumped into someone, and the first bump, they didn't have any armor. I think it was Mario with no armor. He fell back, flat on his back. So he was on the ground. He couldn't run. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't help out. One of your teammates got dropped on his ass because he had trash armor. Now, they showed him with good armor, helmet, and everything on. And when he got bumped again, literally nothing happened. He just like shook a little bit, but he was still up, in position, ready to do anything, block, run for the ball, whatever. I was like, so the armor matters. So yeah, you're gonna want to play with players who've been playing the game for a while and got their good sets and things like that. And I don't know how they're gonna, again, this trailer might have said, in the future there'll be more items added to the game. I don't know, because I can't understand it. But if they do add, more items to the game in the future, yeah, the game is always going to change then because things could be stronger. So, people will gravitate to, oh, what's the strongest character? What's the strongest, item? And things like that. And if they find like, like the top tier thing, and it spreads all over the internet, everybody's going to use that same suit, with that specific character, and then have that same, team setup so that they can have all the top tier stuff. And then the game basically, in a sense, I say it becomes not broken, but it gets locked into this certain state right here where it's like, yeah, that's the best stuff. So people basically just spam it. And that's all they wear. They not trying no other sets. You're not gonna see people wearing anything different. You're not gonna see people picking other plays. They're gonna stick to those few. Well, it's four players that make up the team. So let's say it's like, yeah, the best characters you could have on the team is Yoshi, Mario, Donkey Kong, and Rosalina. You're gonna always see that with this specific armor set. You're gonna always see that, And I hope that it does have some kind of DLC or just content rollout like a Switch Sports has that always changes up the game. So when people get comfortable with that, setup, was like, oh no, look, there's stronger stuff here. So then, and I wouldn't even mind if they went in and when people do that and try to exploit the game, they just start nerfing stuff like they would in shooting games and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind that either, so that the game forever stays balanced. That's another thing, listen, on online games, you always gonna have a portion of the community who's gonna try to find all the exploits, the easiest way to get victories, to get kills, whatever the case may be, and they'll exploit that to death, and then it spreads, and then the game basically gets diluted to just those people. Like if you don't play like them, you're basically gonna be playing to get crushed all the time, and that's just not fun, So I hope that they kind of maintain, active service with this actual game. So, yeah, I look forward to talking about it more in the future when we get the North American trailer. And I look forward to actually playing this with you guys in the future when the game actually releases, which is very, very soon. So, there's a lot of things going on. June is going to be crazy. July is crazy. Listen, every month this year, I feel like it's going to have something crazy. So, yeah, let's move on now to Microsoft. Just doing another big move. And I've been waiting to see this for a little while now. I've been waiting to see what would be the first game that utilizes the cloud that isn't tied to, xCloud within Game Pass. Where it's like, oh yeah, you need Game Pass Ultimate in order to play your games through the cloud. I was like, personally, I wanted to be able to play my games that I own through the cloud. That'd be great at some point. Because right now it's like, yeah, you can play whatever's in Game Pass on a cloud if it's cloud enabled, which right now it's almost everything. But if you want to play a game that's outside of Game Pass that you own through the cloud, you can't. And I think that's like the final step, and that comes with, the Fire Stick and the TV apps. I think that's going to be the final form of cloud gaming, and that's it. Well, we don't even think about it no more. It's just like, oh, how you playing it? Are you playing it, I guess you could say physically or through the cloud? You know what I'm saying? Like physical being you downloading the game. That's just going to be the new norm. But right now, the first, I guess, seed of that future of your games being, through the cloud, like everything you own on Xbox, is the fact that they actually made, which granted it was already a free-to-play game, but Fortnite completely free to play in the sense that you don't need to buy any hardware to play Fortnite anymore. You can just go to Microsoft's website, right, and press play right there, and Fortnite through the cloud just boots up on whatever you're on, whatever has a browser. If you got a toaster with a browser, then you can play Fortnite. You got an old Game Boy somehow connected to the internet, then you can play Fortnite. You can play Fortnite on anything now. You can play Fortnite on your Apple devices, on your Android devices. Yes, they bypass all of Apple's crap. You can just go on the browser, on your Safari browser, and just Microsoft website, press play, and start playing Fortnite. And of course, Fortnite cross-platform on everything. Microsoft did that. Then they dropped, at the same time, Master Chief again, with a black suit variant, and Marcus Phoenix from Gears, and Kate from Gears. And those were the first characters that I ever bought in Fortnite. Since I've been playing it heavy, I said, you know what? I like all these characters in their specific games. I'm going to pick them up. And I picked them all up for dumb cheap because I actually use Microsoft Rewards to pick them up. So it really costs nothing. But, I actually did put in like, I think it was like $5 for some, for the points, whatever, the V-Bucks, and then bought the characters. And yeah, super cool to have characters now to play with that are actually, IP based, that I care about, unlike, just the generic characters that's there. I already told you I'm playing that game so much. I'm level 90 something. I'm about to get Doctor Strange. That's the last character you get in the battle pass. And they got Wanda up there. They got a lot of characters up there. They got Ryu up there. They got Chung Li. And she got like the Ihan the blimp when she comes into the levels. They got Blanca up there. There's a lot of characters up there. Recently, they just had some Resident Evil characters. So they always throwing up different characters. And I actually went on the Switch because I didn't know whether when these characters, I was like, can you get these characters off any store and like on any console? And you could. Like Marcus is up there and Master Chief and Kate. They're all up there. I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, looking at that game on the Switch, I was like, damn, yo, that game looks rough on the Switch compared to what it looks like on the Series X. It looks so good. Yeah, Fortnite is awesome, man. And the fact that you could play it now anywhere, I'm like, this is just the beginning. I'm showing what's next. I mean, almost certainly what's next is going to be Warzone 2. Well, no, I would say Halo and then Warzone 2 because, Microsoft will own them and then they'll throw it right into free to play. You need no device. To not need any device but what you already own, like a phone. Like, yeah, if you got a PC, right, that's trash. It's not even super strong, but it has a browser. You got a decent internet connection, you can play the game. And you're going to be playing off Series Blade. So the game is going to look great. You know what I'm saying? Like really, really great. The only negative would be that because you're playing the Xbox version, you're not going to have like none of that flick stick, motion controls, none of that stuff, which is a damn shame. But other than that, it's amazing that you can play Fortnite like this. And this is how you grow video games and get video games in all markets that don't even have video game consoles. Like, oh, there's only phones over there? Well, you got xCloud, you got Game Pass, you got stuff like this where it's like, this isn't even part of Game Pass. You don't need a Game Pass membership. You don't need anything but to go on Microsoft website and make a Microsoft account, which most of you probably already had already. So, yeah, you just go and play. It's really that simple. There's no fees involved, anything. It's just video games through the internet. All you need is internet, basically, and at most a phone. And in the future, it'll be your smart TV, and you won't need anything. You know what I mean? Like, it'll just be like, oh yeah, go on the Xbox, Game Pass Ultimate app on your TV, and you can play Fortnite for free without even being a Game Pass Ultimate member. That's almost certainly what it's going to be because that's what it looks like already. So the way they laid it out is really cool, and I'm telling you that's just going to be the case with all these free-to-play games on Xbox. They're going to end up, and they said as much that this isn't a one-and-done thing. There will be more. So that's why I said Halo is definitely going in. It's free-to-play online already. So if Fortnite is in, Microsoft is definitely going to put their, IP in there. And what's their other big shooter IP? Call of Duty. So yeah, those are all going to be in there, which I said will help the community of those games, to grow. And we know damn well Halo's gonna need it at the rate it's going. It's gonna need all the players it can get. So them putting it, in the cloud like this without the paywall of Game Pass Ultimate, because it's in the cloud right now, but without the paywall of Game Pass Ultimate, just like Fortnite is, it's gonna do wonders for that game. Absolutely, it's gonna do a ton of wonders for it. So yeah, I think this is awesome, and it's just more of this industry and Microsoft leading this industry into the future, because they've been doing that a lot right now, with Game Pass and their cloud initiatives and things like that. They're just so far out ahead. And then also with their backwards compatibility, their forward compatibility, their utilization of VR and stuff like that. They just been on the forefront of a lot of new tech stuff, and it's cool to see. And it's stuff that affects us, in such a positive way too, where it's like, a lot of this stuff I talk about is about making you actually spend less money, so it's super cool. Like, and I can't give it enough props. Like, it's awesome, all the moves that Microsoft is making in order to make video games far more accessible. Again, with even things like the adaptive controller. It's like they're trying to reach as many people as possible, and they're doing a great job. And the MPD even showed that, earlier this month I talked about it. This year, the most revenue and killing it. They doing it up, which is awesome. It's really good to see them do that. So now, let's get on to the next headline, which is the game I am fiending for. AEW Fight Forever. So we got new footage of the game. I talked about this game title, I want to say like a week or two ago. on this very podcast, but the name wasn't confirmed, and now it's officially confirmed. Perfect name, AEW Fight Forever. And I wish this was a game where we could fight forever and they would just continue updating it instead of doing yearly iterations. They put out new footage of Chris Statlander. They showed her playing. They showed her doing her moves and everything. A little bit of an entrance. Game looks so good. Crowd looks better. All the visuals look better. It's so cool how it reminds me of No Mercy in the sense that the characters look, I mean, just the way they do in real life, but somehow look cartoony without looking cartoony like with the big doofy, body parts like that last WWE game, or just a lot of those games where it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna look realistic, but they're gonna be chibi or something like that. This doesn't look like that. Like their proportions are right, and they look just like they do in real life, but there's just a cartoony nature to it, which I love. They showed Aubrey Edwards, the referee. She was in the ring. I was like, cool to know that we're gonna have a referee. I didn't know if they were gonna do like the animated referee popping out the side of the screen like the old No Mercy games did, but we got a real referee in there, which is always cool because maybe they'll have guest referee matches where you could play as Aubrey Edwards or any of the other referees, and beat up the referees also, be able to knock out a referee. So when your opponent does their super, they can't pin you because there's no referee. There's no referee to count tap out. There's no referee to count the pin. You got to wait for the referee to wake up. So that was all cool. Nyla Rose, her entrance, fire. She had the mask off. She turned it off. Then the fire actually came out, like literally fire. So they showed her move, the one where she goes on the third rope and then jumps across and knees the opponent who's laying across the damn third rope. Love that move. And what's crazy is I've always said this, that when this game came out, the first match I wanted to have was Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, and they put them together in this one footage, and I was like, this is awesome. It's awesome to see those characters in the game. I know not most characters are going to make it. I think they said they're going to have about 50 characters, which to me is a lot. I thought it was going to be less. I thought it was going to be like 30, 25, and then like them just roll out more as DLC. I think this game, if it's great gameplay, they should enjoy that success, roll out some DLC for it for about a year, make a new game, and that new game like be a new Fight Forever. I don't know what you would name, but I think Fight Forever should be the name, and it should be 100% free to play, and you just pay for new wrestlers and old wrestlers who want to put their likeness in the game. They can do deals with AEW, and then they can put those wrestlers in the game. They confirm Owen Hart's going to be in the game, which is mad cool, like mad cool. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like that's just awesome stuff like that. Like DDP did cameos in AEW, but I don't actually. Hell, DDP's last match was in AEW, but I don't think he's actually going to be in the game because he has a deal where I think his likeness only can be used by WWE. That's one of those legend contracts. I think Bret Hart has that now too. So certain people you won't get, but you never know. Other people might be like, yeah, screw that contract. I want to go over there, deal with them, and then get put in the game. If it becomes big like Fortnite, you know what I'm saying? You can even go beyond wrestlers, and then that Fight Forever turned into like Fight for New York, like Def Jam, you know what I'm saying, where it's just a bunch of characters in there, and a lot of people be like blasphemy, and I would say, bro, we've been playing wrestling games where people have been creating Hulk and Avengers for years with the creative character mode. What does it matter whether they put characters up there, for a price? You don't have to buy them, and if you hate them so much, when you run across them online, hopefully you're good enough to beat them. And if you're not, then stop crying. Now, I don't really care. Like, I would just love to see the damn thing become like this big service thing that just keeps going. Because I really don't feel wrestling games need to be released all the time. You see how Warzone is going to get a sequel now? And it's been, what, like 3-4 years, I feel, since Warzone came out? It's been like 3 years. Probably more at this point. But, yeah, like 3-4 years, something like that. It's getting a sequel now. I think that's a good time frame for a game. And a wrestling game, more than any other, can work as a free-to-play game where everybody could just jump in. If it was something like an Unreal Engine 5 game where, it's like Fortnite where it just scales to all devices and everybody can play with each other, like, that's the best way to go about it, in my opinion. And as rosters change, you can pull characters out, you can put characters in, you can add new music, take out music, add new venues, refresh venues, you know what I'm saying, with the new look. Even though nowadays wrestling companies barely be, doing the cool cool ass venues like the Big Pumpkin, man, and Halloween Havoc and stuff like that. I loved when they used to go crazy for pay-per-views. But still, they do little changes and things like that. You can do that in the game. So let's say Double or Nothing is coming up right now, right? And let's say the game was out right now. We got Double or Nothing from 2021, right? Double or Nothing ends, and then let's say sometime around August, it could be an update for the game where it's like, oh yeah, you get the new Double or Nothing from this past May, and now you up to date. Like little things like that could go a long way to just keep people engaged, and people will be engaged. People won't stop playing that game because it's like, why would we stop? They're feeding the game new moves, they're feeding the game new match types, they're feeding the game new characters, and they're feeding the game new menus, arenas. Basically, they're just keeping the game refreshed. Why would anyone stop? I wouldn't. I don't think anyone would. If to this day, No Mercy was being refreshed and it went through all the rosters of the 2000s all the way to now, right? And it just updated with hardware and went from being goddamn 15 frames per second to, 120 frames per second now on PlayStation 5 and Series X. Would you have stopped playing it? Or do you think you still be playing it? I think you would. The same way you still watch wrestling. It would just go hand in hand. And it's like, that's just the future. Who's going to be the first one to get there? You can do what 2K does and WWE does, which is just yearly wrestling games. I know it wasn't yearly this last time, but, for the most part, it's yearly wrestling games. Or you can say, let's just create a service. And hopefully that service will thrive. And I think it will. Especially if you say, like start planning stuff like, okay, we're going to do this thing where this character's going to turn. All right, so let's create a shirt early. Let's create this, da. All right, so the turns are going to happen. And you can get that in the game at the same, time frame. I'm not saying the exact same day, but like that month or even the same day. Say, oh yeah, right now on AEW Shop, you can get, that brand new, like let's say the Blackpool Combat Club, right? Yeah, you can get that Blackpool Combat Club. The week it happened, when the shirts came out, which was like 2 weeks ago. And it's like, yeah, go right now on the AEW Fight Forever online shop and purchase the game now. The shirt now for your creative character and for, Wheeler Yuta, Moxley, and Brian. And that'll be cool. I don't know if Brian, I think his character is going to be coded to just be able to wear a white shirt. He the white shirt killer. He don't do no kind of brand shirts. But for him too, like that'll be mad cool. I would love to see that happen. So yeah, everything they showed of this game is awesome. But the rumors of the game coming out in September, lies. No chance that this game comes out in September. I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. No chance. They was just doing audio pickups at the shows for the games, chants and things like that from the crowd. And I know some people might be like, oh, that's gonna be easy to just put into the game. Nah, man, nah. And also, the fact that they're still showing the same kind of footage, yeah, it's further along, but it's still the same kind of footage that they've been showing for the last 2 years. I say this game doesn't come out till at the earliest, all out next year. That's what I believe. Like August next year, they'll be like, oh, nah, it could come out by March. Nah, I feel like they're gonna wait. And not only that, there's so many people coming in. So many people came in who got contracts for years that it benefits them to wait and try to even listen. You got a roster of 50 to at least get 60. 10 of the people who just came in. You gotta get like for certain things. I feel like you gotta like the women's roster. You gotta fill that up. So there's been new women who just came into the company. Gotta add them into the game. And you're about to have a new one come in as a Joker right now, part of the Owens tournament. Add them to the game. Like, I think the cutoff for characters should happen now, actually. Like, right now. Right now would be perfect. This next batch of because you just got ROH and stuff like that. So it's like, it's important, you know what I'm saying? For them to include some of this texture, this forbidden door texture that is AEW. And again, what would make this so simple would be like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to launch with the 50 characters. But if you have an announcement that it's like, yeah, it's going to be constant rollout of characters, then it'll be cool. And if it was a service game, then you can say, oh, look, ROH is coming to, AEW Fight Forever. and it'd just be a ton of ROH stuff at the stores, like T-shirts, characters, da da da, and there could be passes that get you a lot of this stuff. Obviously, listen, I know it's like, yo, you asking them to nickel and dime us. I mean, 60, 60, 60 every year. It's really, you're still getting nickel and dime. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, be able to purchase what you want and not what you want. And at the end of the day, it will still affect your game. If you don't purchase nothing, you'll still be able to go online and play characters who are updated roster music and stuff like that. Like the music and stuff like that, that should just be free. Like some of the stuff has to be like hotfix updates, not updates where you purchase it. Everything can't be purchased, you know what I'm saying? Because then, yeah, you're going to be nickel and diming so hard where the community is going to be like, nah, it's not cool. But other things, yeah, you can definitely nickel and dime and it not be nickel and dime. And it's like, this is worth purchasing. You know, like if you did a I don't know, like a Blackpool Combat Club update in the future, like let's say that that's not in the game. If you did it and it's like, oh, what is that? It's not the price of buying 3 new characters because those characters were already in the game, but it's their new model. So this is, and and I mean, I don't want to say hate to say it. It's a beautiful thing to say. You getting Moxley, fresh out of rehab. You getting a Brian, who's basically the same damn Brian, right? It's just like, oh yeah, he's just the bloody version, and with the shirt and stuff. And then you get Yuta with the new gear and stuff like that, newer attitude, and that Yuta's rating needs to be higher because that Yuta kicked out of multiple paradigm shifts and all of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that Yuta rating has to be higher. And it's like, damn, you charging for the rating? Nah, it's the whole damn bundle. You know what I'm saying? And it's cheap, but I don't know. Listen, it's for them to figure out, and it's for us to complain for them to get it right. You know what I'm saying? But I think it is a good idea at the end of the day. But anyway, AEW Fight Forever looks awesome. Can't wait for it. And now I'm going to move over to the next headline, which is Nintendo Switch Sports and its great debut worldwide. Well, I can't say worldwide because I don't know North America yet. But around the world, everywhere that I do know some numbers, it's had a great debut. In Japan, 200,000 in the first week, which was less than the 350,000 that Resorts did. But I guess you're going to get less numbers when you put less sports. Ba-doom-doom. Nah, but yeah, I know that was terrible. But anyway, it debuted at number 1 in the UK. So yeah, it's doing numbers everywhere, man. Switch fever. It's a real thing. And I'm not talking about the console because, yeah, that's a real thing too. But I'm talking about sports, Nintendo Switch Sports. It's good to see that the Wii Sports brand still has a lot of juice behind it, and Nintendo really has to utilize that juice. And by that, I mean, they got to, just bring more sports to this game. Really, I want this game, when we look back at it a year from now, to say it has way more features now than when it launched, and it has way more features than Wii Sports Resorts, and it's a way better game now than Wii Sports Resorts. And if you go by data miners, that's likely going to be the case because we already know, we got the confirmation that golf is coming, so that'll be the 7th sport. But there's also data miners mining doing their thing, and they found, spoilers alert, basketball and dodgeball. Dodgeball being one that I was actually saying that I wanted to my girl when we was playing it yesterday, which that was a whole thing, man. Yesterday, Saturday, right? Saturday night. We just played Wii Sports, man, for hours. Mad fun. Bowling, tennis, and yeah, the game, it's the game is so great because anybody could play it. I mean, so much so that I was getting destroyed yesterday at bowling. And in tennis, we was absolutely killing it. And it's just one of those games that you can just pick up and play anybody. So no matter like your skill set, like it's really based off you because it's motion. It's like, it's not something like, oh yeah, you got to learn these buttons. Nah, it's you, your timing, go. And the buttons are so simplistic. It's like, you know how to bowl. Hold this button down and bowl. Angles and things like that. That's all on you. So that simplicity, it still works to this day. And I always knew it. What I always said, Nintendo needed to have Wii Sports as damn near a pack-in for their console. And I stand by that. It should just be part of their OS, of their hardware. It's like, it's just a section where you can make a Mii, and then what can you do with that Mii? Go play some damn sports with that Mii. It should just be in there, and just consistently updated. And here we are right now with the game back after all these years, and it's still putting up numbers. I don't know why Nintendo took so long to make new Switch sports, but it's certain games that they gotta just continue to make because people want to play them, and you're seeing them doing it now with Splatoon, and rightfully so. People want to play brand new Splatoon stages. People want to experience new weapons, new stories in that universe, so they continue to make them. Wii Sports is no different, and Wii Sports still to this day has sold more than the Splatoon series has. Even if you cut out the original, which was a pack-in. I'm just talking about Resorts alone. Still is a better selling series than Splatoon. And I'm not trying to take away nothing from Splatoon. I'm using that as an example because I love it and they love it and they continue to make them. And we don't got to question whether there's going to be another one. I don't want to question whether there's going to be another Nintendo Switch Sports or successor to Wii Sports in the future. That should just be as normalized as a 3D Mario, 2D Mario. The fact that you're going to get some Zelda games on the Nintendo box, you're going to get a damn motion control sports game on the Nintendo box, guaranteed every single time. That's just the perfect, universe for me. But yeah, listen, I got my complaints out on that last stream I did of it, and after that, I've played this game. I want to say another damn. It feels like, man, I played this game like 1,000 hours at this point. I know that's not the case because it just came out, but it feels like I played it a lot. I've been playing it a whole lot, and I don't intend to stop playing it anytime soon. I actually rented the game, and I'm debating on whether to just get the game physically or get the game digitally on my Switch, because I'm feeling like I don't do digital on Nintendo. I only buy digital on Xbox, and I know some people be like, oh, but look there was an outage this week, and I'm like, yeah, I saw the outage. I had my Xbox. At the time, I don't know, I was watching either Netflix or YouTube or something like that. It didn't affect me at all. Like, your console, you set it to home console, you could play your stuff online. But at the time, it didn't affect me. Like, people want to blow this up into like the worst thing in the world. Like, it's really not. It's really not, yo. Like, a couple hours of your console being down, it's no different from when your internet provider, screws you up, and then you gotta have an outage for a day or two before they come and they fix everything up. It's no different, man. It's internet. Shit happens. But yeah, that's why I buy my games digitally. Why? Because of backwards compatibility, forwards compatibility, and all that. But this game, that was a long-winded way to say this game, I want to buy digitally, I say, because it's just fun to be able to, not have to switch carts and just pick up a sport and play it. You know what I mean? So I said the best decision I actually made was to rent the game, thanks to, Gamefly doing that whole year special of $1. Rent 2 games for $1 for the month. So I said, hey, might as well then do Switch Sports. I was gone by, but might as well just, rent it first, since I got the opportunity to play for $1. And there was nothing else that I wanted to rent, just to be honest. And that's Game Pass for, yo. Everything I want to play is basically in there at this point. So I was looking at Gamefly, I was like, yo, this is really nothing I want to rent. Might as well rent the thing that I'm going to buy and just make a decision on whether I do want to buy it or not, because I knew the online was gonna be an issue for me. Let's just put it like that. But yeah, so far right now, I'm heavily leaning towards buying it because I know more sports are coming and I'm gonna want to play those, so it just makes sense. And man, do I wish Nintendo, just once, be like, oh yeah, we heard your complaints about the online. We're gonna do some updates to those too. That'll never happen. I mean, the updates could happen, but they would never actually tell us that they, list our complaints and then they're gonna, update the game based on that. Nah, that'll never happen. But updates can happen. Am I holding my breath for them? Absolutely not. Other than the sports and stuff like that, yeah. And it's fun to go online with randoms and play and things like that. So anyway, Nintendo Switch Sports. If you aren't playing it, you should, man. It's really, really good. You're missing out if you're not playing it. You really, really, really should. Play this damn game. So now let's move on to Reggie and the various comments that he's been making, because he's been making the round. I mean, he's been on all kinds of podcasts, and Go Nintendo has been doing a good job of basically, taking a lot of the excerpts of best quotes from all these various places that he's doing shows on. I know he was on G4 with Golden Boy, did a one-on-one conversation. I want to say he was on Kind of Funny, I think, podcast. Right? He's been all over the place. What was it? Washington Post, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a lot. Like, Reggie's really doing the damn thing, promoting his, book that he has coming out, which is called, what is it? Disrupting the Game. right? Which goes perfect with his time at Nintendo. That's what they were all about. That blue ocean strategy, disrupting the game industry, which it worked. And you know what was one of the main, disruptors? Wii Sports. So it's good to see it out right now. But yeah, he had a lot of different comments, like for example, with everything going on at Nintendo right now with the employees and stuff like that. He basically said like that wasn't the Nintendo that he left behind. That wasn't his Nintendo. So, it's a different Nintendo over there now. And I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that for a little while now. So hearing it from him, I'm like, yeah, it just justifies what I be saying. That Nintendo, I love them as much as I love them. They're far different now. They're far different than what they were back in 2015. I'll tell you that much. But I just wanted to mention a few fun things he talked about. So he hated Donkey Konga. He thought it was going to tarnish the Donkey Kong brand. And guess what? I didn't hate Donkey Konga, but I damn sure didn't like it. I damn sure didn't like it. I thought it was actually disrespectful that Donkey Kong was relegated to some peripheral crap, instead of having a own mainline game. And that's why when Donkey Kong Returns happened, I rejoiced. I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, awesome. But yeah, Donkey Konga, to me, that was a dark, dark time for the Donkey Kong series. I hope to never go back to that kind of time. But Mother 3, he had some thoughts on that. And he said, listen, man, he tried to make it happen. That's the reason why there was the re-releases, on the virtual console and stuff like that. But yeah, Mother 3, like, it ain't happening. Basically, he said it's not going to happen at all. Give it up. It's done. And I'm like, when he said that, I said, yeah, just give it up. It's done. So stop trying to make it like this big, like unicorn thing. Like, just leave it alone. It's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is. And some people are like, I'm not going to give up. Like, then enjoy doing that. Or just learn Japanese and play the game. And or I don't know, emulators out there with translators on them. I don't know what your best option is. Figure it out. But you crying to Nintendo to release something that they're clearly not going to do for whatever reason, it's over with. I'd rather have an honest answer, which is no, it's not going to happen, than, sitting there thinking, oh, like there's a chance. There's no chance. Leave it alone. What we should be asking for anyway, instead of these old games, give me that, remake this, remake that. No, just make a new one. I don't want a Ocarina of Time remake. I don't want a Twilight Princess remaster, re-release. I'm not saying that those can't exist, because I know people want to play those. But I'm just saying, personally, I don't want that stuff. I would much rather an announcement of a brand new 2D Zelda game instead of a 3D, re-release of Ocarina of Time. Or I would rather a new 3D style Zelda game, which is not open air like Breath of the Wild is. Classic 3D Zelda games like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time. Like a new game. A new 2D game, like new ones. I don't care for... We just got Link's Awakening, right? And it was like, oh, look, that's a remake. And we just got Twilight Princess. I mean, if you had a Wii U, you know what I'm saying? You got your Twilight Princess HD, your Wind Waker HD. So it's like people who want that over and over again, it's like, damn. This is why you need online services where you can just play this stuff over and over ad nauseum and not need to goddamn repeatedly release them ad nauseum. You know what I'm saying? Like, just stop, man. Stop. Jesus, it's ridiculous. But anyway. Good stuff, man. Reggie, talking a lot. He also had a whole thing talking about, being a black man at Nintendo. And I was surprised how so many people was like, wait, Reggie's black? And I'm like, wait, what did you think he was? Because I'm like, please, God, don't tell me that you thought that dude was a white man. Because clearly, he wasn't. Right? Like, it's weird. Like, so many people was saying that. And even, like, in the comment section of Go Nintendo, people was like, I always thought he was a white guy. I didn't know he was black. And then some people was like, he's not black, he's white. Like, nah, he's Haitian, bro. Like, what do you think he is? Like, we come in different shades. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, one color. Like, people act like the spectrum don't go from like caramel all the way to chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Like, they act like, oh no, it's just chocolate. Everybody. If you're not that, then you're not black. It's like that's not the way it works. But for some people though, that do be the way it works, which is mad sad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, growing up with everybody around me being basically black and me being like part of the 3% of my family who came out caramel skin color, it was like, yeah, you would get that like get little things like that, and it's like super weird. Like, what you talking about? Or like people try to downplay your blackness, you know what I'm saying? Which is mad weird. But yeah, Reggie Fils-Aimé is black, just in case people needed to know that. Yeah, that is a black man, and he worked at one of the most powerful Japanese companies of all time. I thought this was known. Like, that's one of the things that makes Reggie cool. Like, I don't know. The dude used to have a flat top. He does have a flat top his whole career. Like, I don't, whatever. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, Mortal Kombat. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat, right? Turned 30 recently. Yes, turned 30 this week, and it's crazy. What an achievement for this game to turn 30. Like, Mortal Kombat, right now in its 30th year, what Street Fighter just celebrated like its 35th year, and I don't want to pit them against each other, but we're talking about a fighting game, and we're talking about the game that I used to always fight against in the sales. Mortal Kombat is in such a better place than Street Fighter is right now. It's insane. And as a listen, I love these games equally, and when there was a competition between the two, I didn't understand it because I would take out one cartridge, blow the other one, put it in, and play. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you had to blow cartridges. I just wanted to bring you there, and give you that detail. But anyway, yo, like I didn't care about which one was which. I'm at the arcade. I'm putting the quarter, whichever one I'm in the mood to play. Oh, Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm playing that more than regular Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I didn't care. It's fun. It's fun. Let's play. You know what I'm saying? What was the damn fighting game on 64 with the animals, yo? Beast? It was something Beast, I think. I don't remember, but it was a fighting game there. I used to play that too. So it's not like I'm trying to be like, oh, competition, whatever. But when it comes to lore and my love for the series and which one, just grabbed me the most, oh yeah, it was Mortal Kombat for sure. Mortal Kombat, there was a time where I was a diehard Mortal Kombat fan where I could tell you all the ins and outs, NetherRealm, this, NetherRealm, that, this the reason why, yeah, Quan Chi, I could have broke down everything. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of stopped after like the GameCube era. But Mortal Kombat is still cool, and it's super popular still to this day. Popular movie out, sequels being made, new game is, sure enough going to be announced soon enough, It's just super popular in its 30th year, and I'm happy to see it because it's such a groundbreaking, all the gimmicky words, trailblazing series. It is all those things. And Ed Boon, a dude who's been behind this series the whole time, one man. Like, how many series can you say, yo, it's been run consistently in a positive light? Really, because even at the worst times, there was always something there that people thought was cool. Like oh, there's a spin-off thing that people thought was cool. Like, people still ask for Shaolin monks too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you didn't like Deadly Alliance at the time, I think that's the Mortal Kombat that was out at the time. It was like, oh yeah, Shaolin monks is right there for you. So. And not only that, it's a series that they tried. Like, I think about Deadly Alliance. It was either that one or the one after where you could switch your fighting stance and switch to having a weapon. And now that's just a normal thing in Mortal Kombat. But they were always trying to, add a lot of different big paintbrush strokes to their fighting mechanics versus almost any fighting game out there. It's been the most Nintendo-like in the sense where every new one, they actually try to do something new with it, something different, to the point where now it was like, yeah, it was violent. You used to punch somebody, it used to bleed. Now you punch somebody, it zooms in and shows you the skull break, all kinds of craziness, to the point where it's like, what do you need fatalities for now when the whole damn match is a fatality? That's how good it is, So the series just, it just like found itself in such a beautiful, bloody way. And just stood consistent the whole time. And Ed Boon, that dude, I can't tell you nobody in any field who's consistently been the head lead dude of the IP from its inception for 30 years. Because if you go to Mario, Miyamoto started making Mario games a long time ago. Zelda, a long time ago. These games, leaderships change. Yeah, a ton of the same developers will still work on them. And young developers, as the series go on, get senior positions and stuff like that. So it's like it's the same DNA consistently for the last 35 years. Then there 40 of these Zelda, Mario games, whatever. That's Mortal Kombat for you. But it's just been the same dude behind it the whole time, consistently, and never once have I ever questioned like, oh, like that dude don't get bored. He don't want to go do something else. I never once questioned that about Ed Boon for the simple fact I was like, how can he? He gets to create characters every single time. His universe is his to play with. He could go anywhere with it because it's just the most wildest, craziest universe. And then gameplay wise, he's always changing up the game. Things that people do now, like, oh yeah, motion capture and voice acting, all of that stuff. He was doing that in the 90s when nobody else was doing it. He was doing that in the video game field. He had a vision, like he knew that video games was going to be far more cinematic than what they were at the time. Where everybody else was playing with bits and shit, he was taking pictures of real actors and putting them in the game, and that's why those games just look different from anything, on the hardware that they're from. Like, the dude has always been absolutely incredible, talented, and creative. And his series is a perfect example of that. And it just goes to show that you don't need to just abandon the thing that you made because it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to get pigeonholed into this one thing. Sometimes it's not about being pigeonholed. It's like, I want to be in this hole. I'm digging this hole as deep as it can go. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just fun. It's awesome. And it just feeds my creativity. I feel like that's Ed Boon, basically. The dude is legendary beyond just being like a game developer. Like, the dude is just, as a video game name, to me, top three. You know what I'm saying? Like, top three guys. Like, Ed Boon has been a household name in my household my whole life. It feels like, basically. Even though he came in, at around 6-7 years old. But still, that's basically, my whole life. Like, the dude has just been there consistently killing it. So, props to him. Shout out to him. And congratulations to the Mortal Kombat series for staying, the dominant fighting series for 30 years consistently. Absolutely incredible. So, yeah, that's going to do it for headlines. And now we're going to discuss these two final topics and then get to the Q&A portion and wrap this thing up. So right now, let's talk about the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, which is happening on Sunday, June 12th. It's going to be incredible for sure because they've announced so many games. At this point, this got to be the year we see gameplay, right? This got to be the year we see a lot of gameplay. Look. I'm not going to sit here and act like Microsoft didn't just release a fantastic platform in Psychonauts 2, an incredible racing game in Forza Horizon 5, and a really, really good, fun, single-player shooting game in Halo Infinite. The online needs some work, but that single player was mad fun, and the gameplay of that game is incredible. They've been releasing a lot of games, and that's not even counting stuff like Age of Empires and Flight Simulator, and they've been releasing a lot of games. And then the games that they, save us $60 on by being Game Pass Ultimate members, which they pay those developers in order to throw into the service, and then we get to enjoy day one free of charge, or a few months later, you know what I'm saying, free of charge, other than whatever you would charge for Game Pass that month. Or if you're like me, who got your thing, locked down till 2024, nothing. Yeah, man, like they've been absolutely killing it. But the truth is, a lot of the games that they did announce, Motorsport, right? That was the first game, one of the first games we saw, right? Because the first game we actually saw was Hellblade 2, right? So we got a little bit of gameplay in that last Hellblade trailer. It'd be nice to get a lot more of gameplay, or just a different segment, a different style of gameplay, right? Maybe the fighting mechanics and things like that. Just see how that's progressed, since the original game. Avowed and things like Outer World 2 are announced, and obviously, the elephant in the room of this showcase is, and it's the big game of this showcase. You look at the logo for this showcase, it's the damn Xbox sphere with the, moon behind it basically shining, the sun behind it shining onto the moon that is that Xbox logo. That's Starfield, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to be a game where we haven't really seen gameplay to, where we're going to finally see gameplay to. So, yeah, I want to see a lot more gameplay in this show, right? That goes without saying. And I think it's going to deliver in that sense. So, in that sense, I think for a lot of people, this show is going to be fantastic. And if they don't like it because they showed a lot of gameplay, and the gameplay's actually good, then you just justifying them always showing CG trailers. The truth is, I don't hate on CG trailers because I know that there's a giant portion of the video game loud, internet fan base, the ones that are actually online talking and typing and commenting and stuff, that once they see gameplay, they quick to be like, oh, it don't look that good. Oh, da 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 da, because it's actually gameplay. And what they really like is cinematic, cinema this, cinema that, cinema that, cinema this. You know? But those will be the same ones crying if they just show cinematics. But when they show gameplay, then you tear it to shreds. And a lot of the times that these shows, the thing that they're showing is basically, in development, beta, alpha, whatever you want to call it. But it's a work in progress, and you judging it like you're going to play it tomorrow. So it's like they don't win. They actually lose by showing gameplay, and that's why they don't. If you want to blame anybody for us not seeing gameplay, don't blame Microsoft, really. Blame yourselves for what you did to multiple games over the years. You know what I'm saying? When they do show gameplay, early gameplay at that, you just go crazy on the internet, mad harsh, and probably even hurt the brand of that game just based off its initial reveal. And that's why a lot of developers are scared of that initial reveal. And the way they go with it is CGI, so that they can, hopefully, when they show it, be closer to a game at a finished state, so that, the ones who go online talking shit don't. Hopefully. Which they likely still will, because they love to zoom in and say, oh, look at the texture on this. Look at the texture on that. Let's compare it to this. Let's compare it to that. But anyway, yeah. Let's talk about the 5 things that I hope to see at this show. So number 5, right? I want this show to open with something completely new. Completely new. That we never seen, that hasn't been announced, right? But maybe has some weight behind it that we go, yo, an IP that you go, whoa, they making one of those, wow, that's crazy. So that, for example, what fits there? Banjo-Kazooie. That fits there. You know what I'm saying? Brand new Doom, right? Because this is an Xbox Bethesda show, Doom 3 or something, right? The new games, of the new, even though it's done already, right? It's supposedly done with the Ancient Gods and everything. But I'd say it's a Quake, right? You open with a brand new Quake. Oh my God, it looks insane. They're using the, Doom engine and all that. Obviously they will. That's their in-house engine, that ID Tech. And we're like, oh my God, crazy. All right, so my number 5 is the second game that they show. Yeah, this is what my number 5 is. I want this to be the second game that they show, just to confuse the audience. I want them to show, because I already paid for this and I want to see it here, the first of the 2 big DLCs for Forza Horizon. That's my number 5. And I know you might be like, damn, that's pretty tame. But nah, hear me out. Most people are going to expect to see the new Motorsport. When me personally, I'm like, that's cool that y'all got Motorsport being made, but I didn't pay for some Forza DLC and I want to see it. So I say you tease it, and this DLC, you don't know where it's gonna take place, so people could think, oh, it's this is Motorsport, and it's like, nope, that's just Horizon DLC. So that way, you know what I'm saying? The second to last big reveal, because I don't want you to end on Motorsport. So this is the second thing, right, that they show, Forza Horizon 5 DLC. But the second to last, that's where you show Motorsport, and I mean blow the roof off the place, because it's gonna look crazy, because supposedly, right, it's supposed to be next gen only, even though there's rumors circulating that it's going to be multi-plat. But I'm like, listen, because I just did this yesterday. I got off Switch Sports, and I said, oh, let me just go on Fortnite right here, since I've been playing Fortnite a lot. And I was like, yo, they may be the same game, but they're not. It is, but it isn't. You get what I'm saying? Like, whoa, the discrepancy between Fortnite, which is the same game, like you could play Fortnite on the Switch with me on the Series X. We're playing 2 different games. Like, I landed on a place where, if you play Fortnite right now, there's these giant blimps in the game. And where the blimp was supposed to be, there was literally nothing on the Switch version. And I was like, just waiting for that blimp to load in. And I didn't wait long enough to load in before I got off and went back on my Xbox to play that game. Like, certain games, I'm like, yeah, it's on the Switch. But damn, that game wasn't built for the Switch. But even though it is, right? And it's there and it's playable and plenty of people play it there. And on mobile phones. I couldn't do it. That's all I'm saying. Games have range. So just because it's being made for the Xbox One, Xbox One X, doesn't mean that the series version can't look completely different. And the Motorsport team actually has built completely different versions of Forza games in the past, to be on multiple consoles. Like, oh yeah, it's the same, but you can tell, like, that's a completely different game. And maybe they'll do the same thing again. Who knows? But yeah, that's my number 5. The second game we see, Forza DLC, Horizon 5. And then second to last would be the new motorsport game, which would be Melting the Eyes. So my number four, I think it goes without saying, and this one is long overdue. I think you'll see this in everyone's, wants and hopes for this Xbox Bethesda game showcase. Is that we get a colorful, fun-looking, big budget, yes, big budget like Ratchet and Clank over on the Sony side, platformer for the Xbox. I don't know if that's Banjo-Kazooie. I don't know what that is. It could be a new IP, but the point is, I want it. I want it. Where they got so many shooting games, multiplayer games, and all of that stuff, they need more platforms. They need more colorful, family-friendly games, and they got to get on that ASAP. Don't wait. Just let's go. Let's get on it already. It's ridiculous to me that they have stuff like Banjo-Kazooie, stuff like Jet Force Gemini. Jet Force Gemini is literally cartoony Gears of War meets Halo, basically. And they never even made one of those. Imagine the Jet Force Gemini made by the Coalition. It's like, yeah, it's like a little spin-off thing we doing. Not even a spin-off of Gears, but it's a side project for the Coalition to do outside of Gears 6. It's like, yeah, we were just doing a whimsical shooting game with the mechanics of Gears. And then we thought, hey, why don't we use this IP that we have right here? And then they brought back Jet Force Gemini. They have so much that they can do when it comes to colorful games. And I just mentioned, Psychonauts 2. And I had a great time playing it. And I know that Double Fine is working on multiple games right now, which is awesome. But they can't be the only studio who's making fun, whimsical, potentially family-friendly games. I want more of that from Microsoft. Like, I love that, Xbox has all of these great developers now, but I can't help but notice that it's like they lack in the super colorful, whimsical, cartoony video games. And look, I know I have a Nintendo, and some people might say, "Look, you got your Nintendo for that," but that shouldn't be the case. And it goes vice versa. Like, I loved when I was playing GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and I love when Nintendo was trying stuff like Geist, these mature or at least teen rated shooting games. I love the Prime series from them. Why? Because it was like a mature thing coming from a company who mostly does a ton of colorful stuff. And when I say mature, I mean the art style, not actually mature in its rating and stuff like that. Even though Geist might have been like rated M or something like that. But that was a fun game. You jump in bodies of humans, animals. It was a nice spin on the shooting genre. But yeah, it wasn't that successful, so they completely stopped. Microsoft, I feel like they never even started. I loved a new Super Lucky's Tale. Not to be confused with the regular Lucky's Tale. New Super Lucky's Tale is an incredible platformer that proved to me that developer is an incredible developer who can take the reins of something like Banjo-Kazooie, or just be given the task of creating a mascot like, even though Microsoft already has multiple mascots already, but a mascot like, cartoony mascot like, character for Xbox. Like, I would just love that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just the Nintendo fan in me. Because I like something here doesn't mean I don't want it here also. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you got that on Nintendo. You don't need it on Xbox. No, I do because Nintendo doesn't have HDR 4K console. You know what I'm saying? With all of these crazy tech behind it. No, they that's just the truth. And while their games look great, their first party games all look stunning. I mean, Kirby, was beautiful. You saw my gameplay that I was just wowing the whole time. Like, this is insane. The ending just absolutely beautiful. But beginning to end, that was a gorgeous game. And I know it's not perfect, 60 frames per second, still beautiful. Now, imagine what Microsoft could do. Because when I look at stuff like Ratchet, I'm like, damn, video games have come far. That looks like a CGI movie. Really, really close. You know what I mean? And I would love to see Microsoft use the 12 teraflops for stuff other than just, super hyper realistic games. I want to see a lot more animated games and things like that. Even if it's realistic, I still like animatedness to them. Like I was talking about with the AEW game, where the characters look realistic, but they're still animated. That's the same thing Time Splitters did. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to see more of that from Microsoft. Like, I wouldn't even mind if that's what Perfect Dark looked like leaning more towards a Time Splitters, let's say, than leaning more towards something like, I don't know, Control or a Naughty Dog game or something like that. just for variety purposes. Like they already have so many realistic shooters, and then you got the king of realistic shooters now under your wing, which is Call of Duty. Is like, yeah, you got the room right now, Microsoft, to make colorful games and potentially fail. And will they fail? Them being in Game Pass, I don't know. I don't think they will. Right? I think they can find an audience to play those games. Now, some people might point at something like Battletoads and say, "Oh, look, that was them trying to do colorful and fun looking." I'm like, yeah, but Battletoads was never the best game ever. Like, I don't know why people try. Like, look, people grow up, right? And they play these things when they were young, and then they get this nostalgia for the thing. It's like people who still act like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 still hold up. They fucking don't. They're fucking horrible to play to, like, in this day and age. Same thing with 64. You know, that's why I don't got the expansion packs, because I'm not going to spend mad time playing 64 games in 2022 when games, like, all those games have better iterations now that are way better and play phenomenally well, that it's like going back, it ain't worth for me. I played them when they came out. I played them after they came out. I don't think I got to be playing these games again in 2022. Me personally, I love games existing for people who, you know, find the series to be able to go right on the service on the console and play the entire legacy of that game. So it's like you fell in love with Breath of the Wild, you could go back and play all those other games. You can't do that on the Switch. But I like the idea of being able to do that. You could do that on the Wii U. I like that. But that doesn't mean that I'm personally looking to do that. Me personally. No, I already lived those games, played those games. I'm good. I moved on from them. And the next time I actually care to play those games will be when I can actually own those games on a platform where I can keep the game forever and that's it. Never gotta worry about, oh, you gotta sub to this thing in order to play it, or just full ownership. And for most of those games, I already have that. I own physical versions of it. It's just gonna be a problem when the damn consoles die out on me, and then it's like, yeah, now you gotta try to find a super expensive console to play those games on. But anyway, again, like, I'm just not all for this nostalgia nonsense. How I even got here, oh yeah, I was talking about Battletoads not being all that, and people, you know, acting like it, not this new version not being the best, was like they failed that amazing 10 out of 10 series. People act like if they had gotten the rights to Zelda and then made literally the biggest piece of trash in the world. And it was like, that's not what Battletoads ever was. Stop trying to hype that thing like it was something great. Listen, if you want to even keep it in the realm of Battletoads, the Cowabunga collection that's coming out, I don't care about that. I played those games in the arcade. I played those games on Super Nintendo. I played those games when they re-released them on the Xbox 360. I don't want to play those games again. Give me Shredder's Revenge, the new game. I want to play new stuff. I want new stories. I want new stories. That's just the time I'm on. That's why I'm not interested in Batman Year 1, Batman Year 2, Batman Year 3. Give me Batman Year 40 fucking 8, Batman Beyond. Like, let's move on. Let's give me something new. You know what I'm saying? It's always the same thing with Hollywood, right? Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into that rant. But anyway, yeah, I want something colorful from them. And something, you know, wonderfully beautiful, like Ori. Like, Ori was a breath of fresh air. And when Ori came out, that's the game actually that made me jump back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I jumped out after countless Red Ringers deaths, and then I jumped back in because of Ori. It was that beautiful, stunning, colorful, gorgeous looking game that brought me back in. It's a damn shame that the developers, you know, well, the leadership over there, you know, happened to be absolute trash. But the developers are some talented people, man, and I wish them the best, man, in their future, you know, outside of, you know, the leadership that was, well, trash over there at Moon Studio. And honestly, I hope that the leadership at Moon Studios get their shit together, because they made something so lovely. You know, get your head out the gutter and just, you know, be better to your developers and, you know, push forward and make great games, because I look forward to seeing what they do in the future under hopefully better work environments. That's the best way to put it. So, yeah, I want to see something crazy beautiful and colorful from none other than Microsoft. Yes, first party Xbox Game Studios. So number three is a game I just talked about. And out of all the games that are announced, right, this is the game that I want to see gameplay of. There's been rumors about, funny enough, the leadership over there being basically stiff, as in it's their way of the highway. They're not really taking opinions from like developers over there and things like that. So it's just basically like the top guys making all the decisions. I'm talking about the Initiative and Perfect Dark. There's been negative, you know, news out there, And I would love to see some gameplay to basically calm all that and say, look, we're developing something that's coming along great, looks good, and we can even show it in a playable form. And we look at it and we go, yo, that's awesome. It's Perfect Dark. I'm seeing the DNA of the original game because I don't want it to be anything like the 64 game, other than it being a really fun sci-fi adventure with awesome weapons and a really cool multiplayer game. You know what I'm saying? But it like having to be first person shooter. It has to be this kind of thing or that. Like, nah, I'm not putting all these rules on that. Microsoft already got enough of that with the Halo fan base, who's literally one of the worst fan bases in the world. Just utterly and listen, I'm separating the fan base that I'm talking about, who's literally just never happy at, at I'm gonna say at the world of Halo, in the world of Halo, with folks who really enjoy Halo like myself and really want the multiplayer to be better, whatever, and not just complaining because that's just the normal setting that some Halo fans are always on, which is complain. I'm separating them because there's just fan base who's just like, yo, like with the show, who's just in the comments and everything. I'm like, you gotta tell me though. Why you gotta tell me though? Why you gotta, like, yo, it's a show. Get over it. If you don't like it, just move on. Why you gotta bring everything down? This is the same audience who sat there when Infinite launched and was like, oh my god, it's so much great, it's so great, it's good to see Halo back. And now they crying about it. But I was like, wait, I thought you said it was perfect when it came out originally. My first stream, you could go watch it and you're gonna hear me being negative about it already and saying how it's gonna lose its audience if it stays like this, which, well, it ended up doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was honest from the get-go with that game. And they just be lying to themselves. Like, bro, like Halo 5 was better than Infinite, top to bottom, single player and multiplayer. You could want to spin it a million times. The world of Halo Infinite was mad fun to run around with. But the set pieces were nowhere near 5. Because Infinite just feels half-baked all around, even though the single player is good. I'm like, overall, though, it's not better than 5. I'm sorry. It's just not. And the multiplayer damn sure isn't. It's not in the sense of content, and it's not in the sense of fun. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not. Like, having more mechanics to be able to move around like a Spartan is awesome. The fact that the audience cries, and remove this feature. Like, and then now it's a pickup, lame. Spartan with a crazy suit with jetpacks on the back, but he can't use them. Because while the audience doesn't like that, it needs to be like Halo 1, 2, and 3. Anything else, it's horrible. Annoying, yo. Annoying as hell. They annoy me to no end. They almost make me not want to like the series, but I do because the single player is fun. But yeah, they can really suck the fun out of that series, and then that basically leads to people not wanting to participate because they'd be like, damn, these are just a bunch of miserable people here. Pretending to act like they want to like this thing when they don't. Nothing they do will be good, no matter what. Because if they change it, bad. If they keep it the same, bad. So it's like, what can we do? Nothing. Oh, it ain't Bungie, so it's trash. Like, whatever, bro. Go play Destiny. Go. Like, it's mad annoying. So anyway, yeah, Perfect Dark. I don't want them to go through that. I hope that they can be like the Mario team. But the Mario team, nobody says shit. They can do everything. Oh, Mario throws his hat in this game and captures people. What? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Like, we just fine with it. Like, that's what I wanted to be with Perfect Dark. It's like, look, you see the laptop gun there, which we saw already in the teaser trailer. And so you see the DNA of the thing that we loved back in the day. But we don't need that thing from back in the day. Like, people, like in their list, they put, I'm sure, because they do it every year, oh yeah, GoldenEye remake. Like, you know what you're asking for when you ask for GoldenEye? After playing all of these shooting games, Doom Eternal, playing, name it, Wolfenstein, Uncharted games. I mean, you could go back through time, go into the Kill Zones and the Time Splitters games, all the games that came like after it, that upped game design. Some of these games, like Time Splitters, was way better than GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, because it was the next iteration. I'm not hating. It was Free Radical did the damn thing, right? Like, you don't want that, man. Trust me, you're not gonna sit there and play 100 hours. I'm sure there'll be, a select few people who will play 100 hours of GoldenEye. GoldenEye, bare bones GoldenEye. But most, they're not gonna stick around to play that shit. You're out of your mind. Like, there's just way too many options, Like, I want a great 007 game, a new 007 game, where people will go, oh my God, GoldenEye. I'll be like, yeah, that's cool. I played it day one, ad nauseum. And then I played all of its sequels, the Tom Splitters games and Perfect Dark. Oh, you missed out on that? That's your fault. That's probably why we didn't get no more of them for a long time. But now they're making them, so I look forward to see how those go. But yeah, GoldenEye, I'd rather play what, IO Interactive is actually going to make. They got the 007 IP. I want to see what a Hitman like 007 game is like. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather play that than, let's play GoldenEye again. Like, the nostalgia right now is so bad, man. It's so bad when people just want old shit over new things. It's so wild to me, man. It's so wild to me. But anyway, yeah, that's my number 3. Perfect Dark gameplay. That was a simple one. Number 2, this one is mostly for me because I do think that it's gonna deliver, but I really mean for me personally and for folks like me. My number 2 is a Starfield showing that truly delivers. Starfield is gonna be the main thing here, main hype game. People who played Skyrim, Elder Scroll, all of that stuff, they're in. You don't need to sell them. They know this is the next game. It's been years. They hype. They're gonna play it, no matter what. It could look like trash. They are gonna play. Hell, those other games weren't graphical lookers. Even though some people at the time, yeah, they were big open worlds. But graphical lookers, I would never say they are. Like, I think Metroid Prime still looks better than every goddamn, one of those damn Fallout and all those games to this day. I just think they have way better art direction. That's me personally. So I just want to say, I never play none of those games. Never. I want to, though. It's going to come right into Game Pass. I own an Xbox. You know what I'm saying? I want to play it. I want to travel through space. I loved my time with Deliver Us the Moon. I know this isn't going to be Deliver Us the Moon. I know this isn't going to be Deliver Us Mars. I have that for me, which is fine, and I'm going to play that. But I want to like this, and I want it to be great, and that's why it's my number 2. I want this showing to be stunning, and just leave my jaw on the floor like, yo, I really want to play that. Like, that's literally my most anticipated game next to Breath of the Wild, which, if you don't know, that's literally my most anticipated game ever. So, like the original was, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I want to love it, and that's my very simple number 2, man. I want a Starfield showing that doesn't impress the fans who were already going to buy it, but that makes people like me, from the outside looking in, or even, dare I say, Sony fans who got to look at this exclusive and now debate whether they want to play it on their mobile phone or go and get themselves a cheap Series S or jump fully in with the full-blown 500 daddy, the Xbox Series X. I want this to be that game that makes people be like, yeah, man, I can't miss out on this. This is the video game event of the year. I know some people think that already passed with Elden Ring, but no. I think this could definitely be it, and I think this game is going to have far more variety than something like Elden Ring. So hopefully, it can actually deliver on everything and make a showing that's just stunning. So, number one. And I think I said this last year too. But I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. My number 1 is a new gyroscopic-enabled, first-party, before I used to say elite, but now I'm going to say non-elite / elite controller. I want both. I want them to phase out this controller that they have now, right? And I don't mean phase out as in the plastic and everything. Like, no, keep the same damn shell. I'm just saying put motion in it. And if you want to relabel it, Xbox controller Pro, I don't know what you want to name it. I don't care what you name it. I just want it to exist because I want to play Fortnite on my Xbox with all the beautiful visuals, HDR goodness, with some motion controls. And then it also benefits the cloud announcement that they just made that I talked about during headlines. Like, yeah, there's no flick stick, there's no motion controls. Why is that? Because Xbox is still in the Stone Age with their controller. I want a new controller, and I want it to be universal. I don't want it to be a $200 controller with motion controls that some game only choose to utilize. No, I want it to be a full-blown thing that happens. We're not even mid-generation. Hell, this generation hasn't even started. They just finally started actually manufacturing consoles to the point where they can start kind of meeting demand, but not really because they're still selling out everywhere. You can make a new controller. It's not my fault. It's your fault, Microsoft. You did this to yourself. Twice. You're long overdue. You're 2 generations overdue a motion controller. How did you put Connect in the box with Xbox One but didn't actually connect the dots to put motion into your controller? Weird. Fix that. remedy this. You got so many shooting games, so many shooting developers. I know some of them gotta want motion controls in their game, and now they're under Xbox. That game's gonna be coming out exclusive for Xbox, and that means what? They can't use that, or they can say, "Oh yeah, we put it in if you use the DualSense on PC with our games." Like, nah, that ain't right. I gotta go get a other console manufacturer controller in order to play your games on another whole device, not an Xbox, but a PC, which is kind of an Xbox, obviously. But just so I can get motion controls? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell no. Like, I see people be like, oh yeah, Fortnite is best to play with motion controls. I'm like, yeah, but not on the Switch, because at the 30 frames per second you're going and you got draw distance that's literally like 2 feet ahead of you, the motion controls ain't gonna mean nothing. That's what's like, I want it on a platform where the actual game runs well. And the only way I'm gonna get that is if Microsoft does it. Do it, Microsoft. Do it. Put the goddamn motion controls in the controller. It is long overdue. I laugh every single time my Xbox says your controller needs an update. I put it to update and it says don't move your controller. Like, why does it even say that? Like, and I do move my controller around. Like, if I move it, if I wiggle it, what you gonna do? How do you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you don't move it around so I don't press the button by mistake. Because moving it around, I know why the Switch tells me not to do that. Because it's trying to mess with the damn gyroscoping it and all that, right? Yeah. They ain't doing none of that. So it's just weird. So it's like, listen, is that there because y'all have the idea to put motion in the future? I don't know, but they should definitely do that. They should start just phasing out these controls. I know they just opened up the design lab. Shut that shit down. And say, yeah, we're going to open it up in a few months. Wow. Why you shut it down? Why you doing? Then you come to find out, man, here it is. Because we had to re-upload it with the new design tools, which it shouldn't be. You shouldn't even have to shut it down because it's going to be the same controller. Just now it has motions. So it's like, yeah, you can just go on design and still design a controller. And now when they come to you, starting from this date or whatever the case, or maybe the price is a little bit higher because that controller price may be a little bit higher, you could get that controller. It's not that crazy. It's not that hard. And if anybody has the money to do it, it's them. And again, they might seem like they might see this and it might to them seem like, oh yeah, this is not something that we gotta make a priority, but it is. They missing like a few key things on their consoles to make it perfect. And honestly, to me, it's just one key thing, which is that motion controls in their controller. And if they do that, it's literally 10 out of 10 box. It'll literally be the greatest console ever manufactured, in my opinion. That's the only thing keeping it back, because it already is that to me. From the back compatibility, forward compatibility, the way all my entertainment goes through that, from Blu-ray movies to my digital movies to streaming, everything I do on this console. I love the fact that it has built-in settings because these 4K TVs, man, they be so bright. They don't even be having real good settings in order for you to instantly just darken them, for eye-level comfort. Microsoft has that all built into the console now, so it just adds a whole new layer of comfort. Like, it is literally a perfect box other than the lack of motion controls. And that's why I want motion controls in the standard controller and in the Elite controller. Look, I know the easiest scenario is that you get an Elite controller, right? Last year I had listen, I still remember this because it's hilarious, but I had the idea of putting a little adapter on the bottom of standard controllers to actually give it motion controls. So that way it's like, yeah, it's an adapter on the regular controls that you have now. Then they could phase it out and have a controller with it built in, just like Nintendo did with the Wii Motion Plus. It was an adapter originally when Resorts came out. Then after a few months, it became a packing thing. By the time, like, I got my gold controller with Skyward Sword, that was a Wii Motion Plus enabled controller with no adapter or nothing like that. So they can do the same thing. And then of course they can have their Pro controller, most controls and all of that stuff, which I probably would go for the Pro controller, So if they just did that, honestly, I'll even be happy with that, because it's like, yeah, at least I got most controls on my console, and I know Fortnite would instantly enable it, and then I would just be sitting there hoping that all the Microsoft games utilize it. And I think they would if they actually bothered to put it in. I think the reason why they didn't put it in all these years is because they personally don't care about it. But maybe that'll change. They'll see like the reaction to the market when they found out, like, oh yeah, you could play most controls Fortnite on everything now, PlayStation, da da da, and the only ones left out is Xbox, because Nintendo been doing it forever. PlayStation now doing, like, mobile phones have most controls, and it's like, yo, Xbox, you really, like, you really lacking right here when it comes to, you know what I'm saying? Like this one feature that's been standard since 2006, and hell, it wasn't standard, but it goes back even further than that, like Kirby Tilt and Tumble. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Like, it's wild that we still have to have these conversations about Xbox controllers with no motion controls. Weird, man. But anyway, yeah, that's the 5 things that I want to see, and I'll probably do another top 5 things that I want to see as we get closer. But really, I'm not really interested in predicting or nothing. I just want to see this show and be entertained. And what I want after is to get these demos like we've been getting for the last 2 years. I've had such a good time downloading demos and playing demos every year. And then the games actually come out, and I end up picking up some of the ones that I played that were demos previously, or they come into Game Pass, and I'm like, yes, it's time. I love it. I love the indie games initiative that Microsoft has with ID at Xbox and stuff like that. So that's really what I look forward to the most from this show. Like, the announcement's gonna be cool, but I like to get my hands on stuff, and I know that, hell, the day before this show, I'm gonna get to play A Plague's Tale Requiem. So that's gonna be cool. They're gonna have a demo up of that on all the storefronts where that game will be available, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, I don't know if are they doing the cloud version of that game on the Switch? I don't know, but I don't know if they will have a demo up, like a cloud version demo. But I'm sure that they'll have it for PlayStation, Xbox, and all that. But that's a game that's going to come directly into Game Pass, which is a game that I will outright buy, because the original game was an absolute banger. And this one looks like it's gonna be even better. You know what I'm saying? The brother's gonna be older, so he's probably not gonna be as annoying as he was in the first game. Even though he wasn't, like, super annoying, because his issues in that game, his grievances were all justified. So that's why I didn't find him too annoying in that game. And then what he became, oh, fire. If you never played A Plague Tale, it's on Xbox Game Pass. You should definitely play it. Or just pick it up outright on whatever console you own, because it's worth it, and you'll prepare yourself for the sequel, which is definitely going to be worth it, if it's anything like the first game. There's a lot of good sequels coming out this year, man. A lot of good ones. Now, let's get into the Q&A portion, so then I can wrap this thing up. So, the first question this week comes from the Wolves Den, and he asks, why you hating on Jiggly Wiggly name for your podcast? Oh, man. That's because I said I was joking around saying I was gonna name the podcast, rebranded to the Jiggly Wiggly podcast. If you don't know what the Jiggly Wigglies are, that's actually tech, man. The stuff that makes next gen consoles, next gen, all the power. Instead of saying exactly what they are, this many RAM, that many RAM, or this many. Yeah, I just say Jiggly Wigglies, man. The Jiggly Wigglies. I don't know all the proper terms, so I would always say for years the Jiggly Wigglies. I know it would have been a good name for the podcast, right? All right, so the first real question comes from Wolves Den. Like I said, he says, would you appreciate if they took one of the RPGs for the core story for the Mario movie? I am imagining Paper Mario 64 being the core Mario movie plot. I honestly would hate that. I don't want it to be based off nothing. I want it to be completely original, but just like the Mario games, like the 3D ones. We always get something completely new, but it's Mario. We never question whether it's Mario. We're like, this is Mario through and through. That's what I want for the movie. Do I want them to take elements? Yeah, I would love to see evil Luigi. I would love to see Mario die at the beginning of a movie and then, have to get revived. Like, yo, that was dark. Like, stuff like that, because that's what Paper Mario did. You died, fell back into the planet and all of that. Yeah, like, I would love them to take elements, but like a direct, like, oh yeah, this Mario movie is called Mario the Thousand Year Door. Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen. I don't want that for anything. Like, even The Last of Us show, I hope they do it like The Walking Dead, where it's like The Walking Dead show is based off the comic. And it has all the DNA of the comic characters, but characters are different. Certain motivations from the comic that a character might have is given to a different character on the show, just so that it's new for the people who read the source material, and everybody gets to enjoy it like it's a new thing. That's what I want for The Last of Us show. I don't want it to be the same thing where it's like, oh yeah, you know exactly. Like, all right, fine. If, spoilers, the main character is gonna get killed off, the dude, it's like, yeah, you can still do that, but don't do it exactly what happens in the game. When you get to that point in the game, like from the game, everybody's gonna expect it. You could easily just swerve it, or you could do it there for certain things, but then other things be different, So just switch it up. That's the way I personally wanted to be, like based, but not completely, like a telling of that story, a retelling of that story in cinematic form. I personally don't want that. So the Wolves then asked, do you think there will be highly a specific dragon separate from the other three? Ooh, so you mean the three dragons that we always see? What their name? Din and whatever the hell their names are. I ain't gonna pretend to even know right now. That'll be cool to introduce a fourth one, but why make it highly a specific? Why not make it dark and make it like a demise dragon that is connected to his power, something like that, and then that in turn it's connected to Ganondorf because that's that same malice and darkness from demise. Like I think that would be mad cool to have like a dark dragon that maybe kills one of the three. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Like that'd be sick. Something like that. That'd be cool. Your other question was, outside of the Master Sword, what's your favorite weapon in gaming? The blue shell. Not just that's the one I hate the most. Nah, I don't. I hate it when it's coming after me. I don't really hate it when I got it. It's a difference. Favorite weapon in gaming, man, that's hard because I love the BFG from Doom because when shit get crazy, that's a lifesaver. But then there's regular weapons I like in there, like the shotgun, and especially the one with the hook shot from Doom Eternal. But I love the laptop gun. I love the laptop gun. The fact that it was a suitcase that turned into a regular machine gun, that then turned into a goddamn turret gun that you could just throw up on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, awesome gun. That's been my go-to answer for years. The laptop gun. I love that gun. But you said you can't pick the Master Sword. Could I count Mario's powers as a power-up? Because if that's the case, then I would say, the Tanuki and Fire Flower are up there. But if those don't count, favorite weapon? Samus's arm cannon. That's literally second, I would say, to the... Wait, no, I would say that's first. I would say Samus arm cannon, then the Master Sword. Even though the Master Sword would cut that shit in half. Well, I don't know. After Metroid Dread... We're gonna have to debate whether Samus, the last Metroid, that Samus, can't stand toe to toe with Link. She went straight Super Saiyan at the end of that game. But yeah, the arm cannon. But damn, that's like a regular thing. That's kind of cheating. I'm trying to pick like a certain like weapon. Again, that's an ability. I was gonna say, the screw attack. I love the screw, and it is a weapon. You could crush stuff. The screw attack is the best because when you get it, it gives you in every Metroid game. You get this newfound sense of confidence because not only could you explore the world better, but you could then run into stuff and just destroy stuff. So the screw attack is up there. So yeah, I would say the screw attack. I just named a lot of weapons that I like. Hopefully that answers your question. I can't really pick one because between Samus's arm cannon and the Master Sword, those are my 1 and 2. So I guess you could go with the Samus arm cannon. The Wolves then ask again, do you think we will get a new Zelda race in Breath of the Wild 2? I hope so. Maybe we'll go back and we'll see the Zonai tribe, and see what they actually look like. We saw, the Zonai getup that Link gets to wear in the game, which was kind of like barbaric. He looked kind of like Conan the Barbarian or something like that. Maybe we could get, that tribe. But I would love to see a new tribe introduced. Like, we always got the Gorons, Zoras. That's regular things. The Dongos and all that. Well, no, the Dongos is that's not a tribe. That's the damn... I already said Gorons. I'm going to say, goddamn the Dongos, man. It'd be dope to see some Dongos, though, right? Throw some bombs in their mouth. How did they not do the Dongos? Nah. What other races? You got the Minish, right? You can see that, but that's not new. You said, will we get a new? I would love to see something completely new. And the Zonai are new, even though they were kind of teased in the first game. It would be new in the second game because that would be the first time we see them. So yeah, I would love to see a new race, and I like to see the series grow. As we explore this new Hyrule. Hopefully, we'll go and find new people, new places. That's my most exciting thing about the new Avatar movie coming out. Is that yeah, we're not only gonna see this one tribe. We got like a little piece in, especially in the extended edition of Avatar the movie with the extra 16 minutes. You get to see at the ending like Jake Sully and Neytiri go and find all these other tribes, and you see how like their getup and their like their paint is different and stuff like that. It was cool, so I'm looking forward to seeing that in the new movie. And yeah, I would love to see that for the Zelda series also. Why the hell not? So Jack Jan Jim asks, so is Square Enix really trying to sell itself because the board over there is trying to get rich quick and ruin more games in the process? Or are we not ready for that conversation? I guess we are, because I'm about to have it. I don't know if they're trying to sell themselves. There's rumors that they want to sell themselves to some people feel like, oh, Sony's gonna buy them, which I think that's a perfect fit. They're already goddamn, you know, pay for exclusivity, time exclusivity for a lot of games. Might as well just buy them out so you can stop wasting that goddamn money just to keep games off Xbox, which is what they doing. Nobody bats an eye at that though. But then when Starfield is exclusive, they're bad. If Call of Duty becomes exclusive, then they wrong. But when they do it with Street Fighter, when they do it with games that aren't first party, oh, nobody bats an eye. Yeah, I don't know. And I really don't care because I don't really play Square like that. Square has been a constant, you know, in the video game world. And I've constantly ignored Square because I really don't play RPGs. And the last Final Fantasy games I played were on PlayStation 1. So yeah, it really has no effect on me. The Square games I do play are the Tomb Raider trilogy. You know, that trilogy that just came out and is done. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I play from them, and they're not doing it no more. So I really don't care. They could do whatever they want. It will literally change nothing about my gaming landscape. They could go exclusive to Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and it wouldn't change anything because I don't play their games. So wherever they are, it really wouldn't matter to me. Do I want them to be exclusive? Let me think about it. I really don't care. Let me be honest. I legit don't care. So, Jack, you also asked, why is Reggie being slithery as F with his deflection these days? I don't know. I didn't see no deflection. I don't know what you're talking about. You should have elaborated on this question because, to me, he's been being blunt and honest with everything he's been being asked to the point where it's been like, really justifying a lot of the things that I said before, where, you know, a lot of Nintendo fans will give me pushback and complain or like to throw out their favorite. You're not a real Nintendo fan if you're not blindly loyal. Yeah, so I guess he wasn't a real Nintendo fan or a real Nintendo president or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's been saying a lot of the stuff that I knew to be true, you know, about Nintendo even back then. But anyway, you know, it's been good stuff coming from there. So, Ipster says, hey, Red, how you doing? I've started noticing, well, you said how you doing. Let me just say, I'm doing well right now, actually. Now, let me get to your question. I've started noticing people already starting to talk about Mario Strikers being an unfinished game, light on content. I think that the recent trailers for Strikers still doesn't have Daisy anywhere. Nope, she's not in it anywhere. But there's a lot of omissions, in my opinion. I feel this has been a general concern with most Nintendo games the last few years. Mario Tennis, Golf, Sports, all those games that have regular free updates. Do you think this is a worrying Nintendo trend starting to emerge? Or is it how games are now? It's a little bit of the two. It's definitely a trend that has emerged, right? Where they were putting out a lot of Wii U games on the Switch again. And then the games that were coming that were new were lacking by all intents and purposes. They were lacking in the feature department. That's just the truth. And all the ones you listed, golf, tennis, sports, you know, Nintendo Switch Sports, factually are all lacking in comparison to previous versions, right? So yeah, you can worry about that being, you know, an emerging thing within Nintendo, but it's because it's part of the times now. With DLC comes not great responsibility, but with DLC comes the lack of responsibility to have to launch a game fully featured. Now, that can work for you sometimes, or it can be Halo right now, which is really, really costing them right now by them having a game that's not, you know, fully featured. It's just not. ideal. Let's just say that. So, yeah, it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild that I mean, Nintendo, who can launch something like Smash Bros. Ultimate, which has so much content, you know, they can just go right back into not even right back, just now be like this, where it's just like less happening. And some people will say, "Oh yeah, HD games is harder to do," and I'm like, expand. That's it. Expansion is all you can do, and the expansion is happening. But the expansion has been known, like it's been known that they should have been expanded since 2006, since Nintendo stopped, following the Jiggly Wigglies, right, and making a super powerful console all the time. Yeah, they've kind of just let little things here and there slack because they can get away with it, and the audience has proven time and time again that they can get away with lacking on certain things, and they've just been taking advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's no different from Sony too. Sony takes advantage of a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, with their audience because they won't say nothing. They'll just get a pass. You know what I'm saying? With Microsoft, for example, they try to do whatever they did with Xbox Live pricing. We went at them. They switched tune on that. They recently removed the ability to share, images and videos directly from your console. And in 1 week, we made them change their mind on that. You know what I'm saying? Whenever they do something stupid, we call them out on that. Where I feel like when it comes to Nintendo, my Nintendo fans don't be with me, like, yo. They be like, oh, they're not going to change. They don't care. I'm like, no, they'll care if the narrative is just that from everyone. And it's deafening. All companies care. And they will adapt because all they care about is money. And if it looks like it's something that we are bothered so much that it might hurt their wallet, they'll change it instantaneously. All of a sudden, the thing that might take years to change, all of a sudden it's here in a day. That's just the way it is. Factually, it's happened multiple times. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just wild. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the way games are now. Games is launching half-baked. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy a time. It's good in some aspects, but it's crazy. It's a crazy time because in some aspects it could be really bad, detrimental, or in a way a band-aid or a crutch that developers use in order to just ship out some trash that we gotta still pay full price for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all for understanding that, yeah, as things get crazier, tech gets crazier, more man hours are needed, games are gonna take longer to make. I understand that there's gotta be give and take. But a lot of the times we feeling like a lot of these developers be just trying to take advantage of us. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what you want to do. So you said, and do you feel the no Daisy concerns are justified? I mean, nah, she could come in as DLC later, free DLC. That's one thing at least Nintendo does do. A lot of free DLC. At least they not lacking content, and then they're like, oh yeah, Golf is coming later, but you got to get this battle pass in order to get Golf in Nintendo Switch Sports. Oh, Daisy's coming later, but you got to buy her as part of this character bundle like Fortnite. Like, no, they'll just come into the game. So is it a concern? Yeah, it's justified because people love Daisy. They played with Daisy in all these sports games. She's a regular. She's a staple. When they do the character portraits of all the Nintendo characters, Daisy's always there. And in no way is Rosalina a replacement for Daisy. Rosalina is just another one added to the list. We love her. We love Daisy. We love Peach equally. You know what I'm saying? And we want them all in the game all the time. Just saying, throwing Birdo in there too. So, yeah, I think the concerns are justified. And finally, you said it's good playing Fortnite with you. Absolutely, yeah. We've been playing a lot of Fortnite, Ipsters, and it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. I'm having such a good time playing Fortnite, and I don't see myself stopping playing it anytime soon. I'm really hoping that the rumor of the Doomslayer coming to the game is true, because after getting, the Master Chief and the Gears characters, I was like, yo, I really want the Doomslayer. I would love to have Samus, too. Like, I know they did God of War. I want some Nintendo goodness in my Fortnite, too, man. I would love to have Samus. Imagine running around with Samus. Imagine, you know how you got the Master Chief, like the taunt, where you can get inside of a goddamn, Warhog, or we got the Segway. Like, I use the Segway all the time. I know you see me, riding around the Segway. It'd be cool, like, if they did that, Samus turns into a morph ball and just rolls around real slow. and maybe you can even drop bombs, but it's not anything, that changes up her gameplay. That's what I like about Fortnite. It's like it's all this crazy stuff, but everybody's even all the time. Guns have their ratings, everybody has the same health. It's just good. It's just really came into its own over the years. And this is my favorite island too. Like out of all the changes that they did to the islands, because I did jump in always to check the crazy new islands whenever they would do stuff like that, throughout the years. But this island is really my favorite, and I love the jetpacks flying around. I love the damn snow globe that you can shake and then basically spawn, basically, come out the sky again and then fly away. Like, and when you're in the situation where you get caught by like 3 people and you by yourself, is nothing better than having one of those and shaking that shit and just flying away. There's a lot of good stuff in there right now, and I love the vehicles. I saw they had the chop in there recently, so yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. But for me, I'm all no build, man. I don't like build. I know you be playing sometimes build, and then I'll play that one match and then I'll just back out because I'm gonna just go play zero build because I really don't like the building mode. I'm just being genuinely honest, man, at all. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this very first Recipe video game podcast. The first one's in the can, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome stuff. Next week, 241. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, if you want to get these early, right when they come out, the best way to do that is becoming a member on Patreon. You also get access to the Discord and just, early access to everything else, basically. It's a cool way also to support this platform, which I hope, you will want to do in the future because you enjoy it and it becomes part of your weekly routine like it is for many of my patron. I appreciate y'all. Y'all consistently push me to want to better my platform, and y'all know y'all the main reason why it is that I do this. Y'all have been the lifeblood of this platform for years now, and yeah, I can't, thank y'all enough. So yeah, stay tuned, man. We're gonna keep this going. New branding, but the same old flavor. You heard? So yeah, until the next one. Stay active, y'all. Play video games. Peace.